But it's my turn. You told me it was my turn.
You got knocked the out, man.
What's going on, y'all? What it is. So let's go ahead and slide on this topic because we have a bit of a muddy situation going down at Fox Sports. So you have an individual by the name of Nushin Faraji that is actually suing the network, and she's also coming after Skip Bayless. Now she's suing Skip Bayless for $1.5 million for SH, and according to Faraji, Skip Bayless even offered her $1.5 million to get in between the sheets, and she respectfully declined, citing that Skip Bayless was married, right? So she stood on business saying that she was not going to violate that man's marriage. Now, there was someone else that was Skip's true partner in crime at one time, and they did a show together called Undisputed, and this person wasn't married, and I'm talking about Shannon Sharpe. Now, the word is that Nushin wanted Shannon Sharpe, and they allegedly got it on. Now, word got back to Skip that Shannon and Nushin had this thing going on, and it really prompted Skip to become unbearable with his advances towards Nushin, and she had to keep declining him over a course of 10 years. Now, I'm probably botching her first name, so from here on out, I'm just gonna call her by her last name. But anyway, I believe that blow up between Skip and Shannon was not all about Tom Brady. I think that Skip has some deep-rooted issues with Shannon on the inside, and maybe, just maybe, that this situation with Faraji was a part of it.
Hate by a guy who's jealous that he is still playing at a high level at 45 when you had to stop at 35.
That's what you do.
That's the point.
That's what you do. Every time I call something into question, I'm jealous.
No,
Skip, I did what I did.
I never said you were jealous of Baker Mayfield.
Skip, I did what I did. You make it seem like I was a bum. I'm in the effing Hall of Fame.
Okay,
I got three Super Bowls.
So what?
So what?
He's way better than you were.
I'm better than you.
Better.
Skip, what I got to see what you do? You take personal shots.
No, I don't take personal shots. You started it.
Time out. You would take a personal shot at me.
I didn't take a personal shot at you.
Wait a minute.
What are you talking about?
You would take a personal...
Put your glasses back on.
Can I finish? You're willing to take a personal shot at me to say this man is better than me because I say he's playing bad this year?
Well, because you disrespect him. It's just so. You know what? It's beneath your dignity.
You would disrespect me to support him.
No, well, I'll support him over anybody because he's the greatest player who ever played your game, and it's by far.
Now, whether you like Tom Brady or not, you have to admit that he was a great quarterback, and Shannon was a great tight end, and they're both in the Hall of Fame. So, Skip Bayless and Shannon having this relationship and they're friends, I don't understand why would you try to compare Shannon Sharpe's career to Tom Brady when they played two different positions. And it just seems as though, to me, that there was something more there that was egging Skip on to go at Shannon like that. It could be just overall jealousy because Shannon's podcast was about to pop off and was popping off at the time. And then again, we have this situation with Faraji. And with Skip offering her $1.5 million and she's still declining to sleep with you, it had to hurt his ego. And to be honest, Skip's ego should be bruised from the fact that he felt the need that he had to pay to get the poon in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Now, Faraji was going through all of this as a hairstylist for Fox Sports, and she's suing the actual network for discriminatory practices and also neglecting her claims when she would go to the top execs saying, hey, I'm being mistreated in the workplace. They would turn a blind eye. And then on top of that, she's also suing the network for wrongful termination. Faraji also slings some mud on her former colleagues, and one in particular that's getting a lot of attention this morning. If you look on X, she is trending. Her name is Joy Taylor, and according to Faraji's lawsuit, she's alleging that Joy actually slept her way to the top by dealing with multiple execs and also sleeping with media personalities that worked on the show like Emanuel Acho. Now, what's interesting about this dynamic with her claim with Emanuel Acho, I want you guys to take a look at this clip on how Emanuel said that Joy got her position at FS1.
Just got done with rehearsal for the new show Speak, and I got to take a moment to shout out my co-host Joy Taylor. A woman, a black woman, daily show, sports. Do you all realize how hard it is to get into the position that she is in? So often there's misogyny and sexism running rampant in sports, and we don't even care what women have to say in sports. But Joy is not only in the position on television as a woman, as a black woman, but as an opinionist. So not just asking men what they think, but providing her own unique and distinct insight. It's hard to do, and Joy, you have done it. So congratulations. Looking forward to working with you, and hope y'all tune in 4:30 to 6 Eastern every day starting next week.
Alright, so you guys just saw and heard all of that, and I do want to add that Emanuel has deleted that post from all of his social media accounts. You can't find it nowhere. Since Faraji has filed that lawsuit, he pulled it down. And so not only was Emanuel sleeping with Joy, Joy could have been sleeping with anybody since she endorsed this type of behavior, and I'm going to tell you why in just a second. And she's getting ate up online, and a lot of people are saying, well, why is everybody paying close attention to Joy but nobody's calling out Skip? Well, basically, there's a few reasons, right? From what I'm reading, I'm not saying that I'm agreeing with those reasons, but they're saying that she cheated on her husband because she's been with Fox since 2016 and she divorced her husband in 2017, and his name was Richard Giannotti. And then on top of that, according to the lawsuit, Faraji says that she went to go meet Joy for lunch and Joy was all hooked up with Emanuel Acho. And I believe that Faraji had to be privy of the relationship that Joy was having with one of the top execs for Fox by the name of Charles Dixon. And she said, hey, it wouldn't be a good idea to be sleeping with the exec and also Emanuel because there could be some repercussions for your actions and things like that. And she said that Joy replied and said, like, if anything were to happen, I'll just say that Charles Dixon forced himself on me, basically that he committed R. Like this person said, and this is the top comment, and I had to blur the word out. It says, so Joy Taylor was going to come out and say he R'd me and y'all was going to believe it. Then another person says Joy Taylor cheated on her husband with a man, then was finna hit him with false R charges. That's nasty, man. So a lot of people find that aspect of the lawsuit very disgusting and insufferable, if I'm being quite honest. Now, also, according to Faraji's lawsuit, she said that she went to Joy Taylor to talk to her to get some advice about how she was being pressured by execs and Skip Bayless to be intimate with them. And basically she said that Joy was like, listen, this is the nature of the business. You need to get over it. And allegedly we know why, because Joy was already participating in things that Faraji didn't want to do to get to the top. And that was sleeping with these execs and sleeping with people, although she did sleep with Shannon Sharpe, allegedly, right? But it sounds like to me that Joy didn't want to hear Faraji complaining about things that she was guilty of doing. But anyway, I think that I covered the basis of this lawsuit, but we want to take more of a deep dive, right? And so what I'm going to do right now is turn it over to a phenomenal creator that goes by I'm Not a Lawyer, and she's really going to take us into this deep dive of what this lawsuit actually entails. I want to appreciate you guys, and I'm going to leave you all with this clip. I want to appreciate you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to like it, share, drop down in the comments, give me your thoughts and insights, and I'll talk to you guys later. Be safe.
A former Fox hairstylist is suing Fox, Fox Sports, Fox Sports 1, Fox Sports 2, Charlie Dixon, who is the head of content for Fox Sports 1, Skip Bayless, and Fox Sports 1 host Joy Taylor. And child, I'm not a lawyer, but I read all 42 pages of this lawsuit, so let me give you the recap. Let me start off by saying that this is a two-part lawsuit. Nushin Faraji, who is the woman that's suing, has filed a class action lawsuit on behalf of her and other hourly employees. And then she's also filed an individual lawsuit on behalf of herself, claiming battery, hostile work environment based on gender, race, and disability. She's claiming retaliation, wrongful termination, and some other stuff. Here we go. So I'm going to call her Faraji because I don't know if I'm pronouncing her first name right, so just go with it. So Faraji says that she started working with Fox in 2012 and then was hired full-time in 2016. Starting off with defendant Joy Taylor, Faraji says she meets Joy Taylor in 2016, and at that time, Joy was working on an as-needed basis for Fox. She was married but had recently relocated from Miami to Los Angeles, but her husband was still in Miami, where she came from. Faraji says that in May of 2016, she goes to meet Joy for drinks, and when she gets there, a man named Charlie Dixon, who is a defendant and, like I said, is the head of content for Fox Sports 1, is also there. Faraji didn't know who he was, but he was buying drinks and food. After that first night, Faraji says anytime she would go to meet Joy for anything, Charlie Dixon would either come with Joy or he would come later and leave with Joy. The lawsuit says, quote, Faraji suspected that the pair were sleeping with each other, and although this concerned Miss Faraji as she knew Miss Taylor was recently married, Miss Faraji kept her opinions to herself. Keeping your opinions to yourself and then filing this lawsuit with this information in it doesn't all the way feel like keeping your opinions to yourself. The suit goes on to say that Faraji continued to be friends with Miss Taylor, but tried to distance herself as she considered the situation dangerous as well as morally wrong, as Miss Taylor and Mr. Dixon were both married. In July of 2016, the lawsuit says people around the office start hearing about a new show that's going to be launching called Undisputed. The show was going to co-star Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharpe, and execs wanted a woman with significant TV experience to also star on the show. So Faraji says it was a surprise when Fox announced that Joy Taylor was the woman who got the job, considering that Joy previously was, quote, a bartender and Miami radio host with very little TV experience. Faraji is giving shade, ain't she? Now, Faraji says that Skip Bayless told her at one point that he didn't even want Joy Taylor on the show, but Charlie Dixon was adamant about it and eventually asked him to just do it as a favor to him. A few months after all of this, Faraji says she goes to dinner with Joy, Joy's husband, Charlie Dixon, and Charlie's wife. And during that dinner, quote, Miss Taylor's husband became suspicious that Miss Taylor and Mr. Dixon were having a relationship. Soon after the dinner, Miss Taylor's husband found evidence of the inappropriate relationship and decided to divorce Miss Taylor. Fast forward a bit to January of 2017, Faraji says that she was at a rooftop restaurant celebrating Joy Taylor's birthday when Mr. Charlie Dixon approaches her. The lawsuit says that he asked the bartender for a drink and then he places his arm on Faraji's lower back. He asked her how she was doing, if she was having fun, and if she wanted a tequila shot. He then, according to the lawsuit, lowered his hand and started rubbing her body and grabbing her behind. Faraji says that she told Joy Taylor about what happened, but to her surprise, Joy's response was, quote, get over it, and that Dixon could make both of them lose their jobs. So from there, Faraji decides to tell another coworker. And the lawsuit says while that coworker agreed that Charlie Dixon was disgusting, the person also said that the behavior wasn't shocking given Fox's culture and that Faraji should just keep quiet if she wants to keep her job. The lawsuit says a few years into working at Fox, Faraji went to lunch with another one of her coworkers, and at that lunch, the woman tells her that she's no longer going to be working with Fox because Charlie Dixon told her in order to renew her contract, she needed to engage with him. The woman declined, and according to her, she was now parting ways with the company. Following that lunch, Faraji calls Joy Taylor to report what she learned at lunch, and according to her, Joy says no one gives a blank about that coworker. Now, in addition to what's claimed about Charles Dixon and Joy Taylor, Faraji also has some claims about Skip Bayless. Faraji was hired to give Skip Bayless haircuts once a week for Undisputed, and at first these appointments were fine. But eventually he, quote, began finding excuses to touch her. He would give her lingering hugs after each haircut, putting his body against her own, pressing against her, and he even began kissing her on her cheeks. In the summer of 2017, while Miss Faraji was giving Skip Bayless a haircut, he told her that she was, quote, voluptuous. Now Faraji, whose first language is in English, asked him what voluptuous meant, and he said she should figure it out. Eventually she does, and she says she was mortified. Faraji says that she decided to keep quiet about all of this because she was a single mom and needed the job to care for her and her son. In an incident from 2021, Faraji says that she told Skip about some medical issues she was having, but instead of him being compassionate, Faraji says that he told her he wanted to be with her and then allegedly grabbed her hands, began kissing them, and offered her $1.5 million to engage with him. About 1 week after the $1.5 million offer, Faraji says Skip tries her again, and this time Faraji tells him, quote, Skip, stop, you have a wife. To which Skip responded, quote, aren't you Muslim? Doesn't your dad have 3 to 4 wives? And then Faraji responded that her dad was dead. In April of 2022, the lawsuit says that Faraji walked over to Skip's fitting room on set. And when he answered the door, he, quote, began to angrily accuse her of engaging with Shannon Sharpe. Faraji tried to explain that that never happened, but she says Skip didn't believe her. This back and forth goes on for a number of days, and then on April 16, 2022, during a phone call between Skip and Faraji, Faraji says that Skip tells her he could tell from her body language that she had done what he was accusing her of. He then also stated that he heard her talking to Shannon about her private. There's also an incident from 2018 in which Faraji says that around that time, Joy Taylor's then fiance, so this seems different than the husband she had back in 2016, learns that she had been sleeping with Charlie Dixon. Joy's fiance breaks off the engagement after learning this news and threatens to go public with everything he knew. The lawsuit says, upon information and belief, Charlie Dixon paid for everything it took to cancel the wedding in exchange for the fiance not saying anything. Faraji also says that a man named Bobby Diaz, who mics up the talent for Fox, openly gropes, harasses, and is inappropriate with women at Fox, including her. And the only reason he hasn't been fired is because he supplies narcotics to Fox employees and talent, even after an incident where he removed his pants on live camera. What's going on over at Fox? In February of 2020, Faraji says she meets Joy for lunch, and when she gets there, Emanuel Acho was also there. Faraji didn't know who he was, but she says, quote, she could tell that the two were romantically involved. Faraji says she tells Joy Taylor that she probably shouldn't be sleeping with Emanuel and Charles Dixon because Dixon is a very powerful man who might get angry. But Joy allegedly responded saying she is also very powerful, and once Charles Dixon was no longer useful to her, she would just tell the company that he forced himself on her. Faraji says Joy wanted Acho to recommend her for the show Speak for Yourself, and in September of 2022, she was in fact hired on that show. By October 2021, Faraji says the friendship between her and Joy Taylor had ended. And when it does, Joy begins insulting her on a personal and professional level. Joy allegedly openly mocked Faraji's English and complained about Faraji's humming. The humming is apparently involuntary, and it's a subconscious coping mechanism Faraji uses for PTSD. Joy Taylor also then began saying that she needed a black hairstylist on set instead of Faraji, who is in black. Time goes on, but eventually Faraji is told that she is no longer needed as a hairstylist at all. And when she asked the head of operations if she had done anything wrong, the woman responded, quote, you remind me of my dog, and when I take my dog out, he barks at bigger dogs. That's like you. I don't even know what that means, but comparing somebody to a dog is not okay. In August of 2023, Skip somehow learns that Faraji never actually engaged with Shannon Sharpe and decides to apologize to her. While he's doing that, he also tells her that Charlie Dixon wanted her fired because she knew too much and was talking too much. There's some HR meetings, some internal investigations, and on August 8th, 2024, Faraji is officially told that after an investigation, she is being fired because Fox can only afford to have one hairdresser on their 3 shows, 2 of which Faraji had been working on. Faraji says after much therapy, she is now at the point where she seeks justice. So she's suing for battery, which is specific to Charlie Dixon for that alleged incident that took place on the rooftop bar. Skip Bayless for those lingering hugs, pressing on her body, kissing on her cheeks. And Fox, because according to her, they required their employees to appease the talent or do whatever they needed to keep them happy. She's also suing for a hostile work environment, failure to prevent harassment, which is specific to Fox for not taking reasonable steps to prevent this kind of stuff from happening. Retaliation, because she says in one of those HR meetings, she confirmed that Joy Taylor was sleeping with Emanuel and Charlie Dixon. And shortly after, she said she was fired. So according to her, those 2 things are related. And then she's also suing for wrongful termination. Now, like I said, there's also the class action part of this lawsuit, and Faraji does go into details of that, but it's essentially that she and other non-exempt employees were not properly paid, even though they were required by Fox to work. So we just gonna start off 2025 hot, huh? Because I'm tired already.